Hello everyone and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So as you can see in the title, I am doing basically a huge book haul. I haven't done one of these since March, I don't think, so it's been a while and I've had quite a few since then. I'm probably missing quite a lot of books that I've got since March, but these are just like the most recent anyway. I think I almost have 30 books here and these are all physical as well. There's no ebooks in this haul because I recently did a Kindle book haul, which click up here if you want to see that. So I've just basically got a load of books that I want to show you, and I haven't read any of them yet just because they're so new. I literally, you know, some of them I got yesterday, so like they're brand new books to me. Yeah, I'm basically just going to go through them all with you and tell you about them. Yes, I have a lot of books and I just need to get into it. So if you enjoyed this video, please like it, please comment down below, and please subscribe. If you hit that notification bell, you'll be notified whenever I post, which, I don't know, if you want to see that, then that would be great. Let's just dive right in and start talking about all these wonderful books. Alright. Okay, so the first 5 books I'm going to talk about is a series, and it's a series that I've been wanting for a while. It's extremely popular on BookTok and it is a YA dystopian, I believe. I really don't know a great deal about this, but anyway, it is the Shatter Me series, still in the plastic. I managed to get it from the works for £15 for the first 5 books. I believe there's more of them. I don't know if there are any more. I might take the plastic off them quickly and show them individually. I'll be right back. Ow. We have scissors. We're getting there, people, don't worry. A fragile teenage girl is held captive, locked in a cell by the re-establishment. But this is no ordinary teenager. Juliet is both a threat and the most powerful weapon they could have. A touch from her can kill, and one touch is all it takes. Juliet has never fought for herself, but when she's reunited with the one person who ever cared about her, the depth of her emotion and the power within her becomes explosive. Wow, okay. Yeah, I have heard it's kind of like fantasy dystopian, but apart from that, I don't really know a great deal. I just know it's super popular on BookTok, and I figured I should probably read it since I review books on BookTok. So yeah, you have Shatter Me. I mean, the covers are really cool as well. Unravel Me, Ignite Me, Restore Me, and Defy Me. So those are the first 5 books that I have. It's all one part of a big series, and I managed to get it for £15 from the works, which I'm super happy about because who doesn't love a good bargain? Okay, the next one that I got it on from Waterstones for the buy one get one half price, so I haven't taken the sticker off yet. But it is Dark and Shallow Lies, and this is by Ginny Myers Sane. So I've kind of heard that this is a coming of age thriller with a little bit of kind of magic in it maybe, or mystery, something like that. It says a coming of age thriller that will put you deep into its dark, explosive heart. This is YA, it is a young adult thriller, but I've heard really good things about it so far. At the front it says, in this town magic runs deep, but secrets run deeper. So it follows the story of a young girl who comes back to her town that she used to live in, and her best friend has gone missing. She's been missing for months. And basically, as the main character is trying to find out what happened to her best friend, she finds out that her best friend has been connected to some murders that have taken place around the town. And basically just things unravel as she's on this mystery, on this quest to find out what happened to her best friend. But I have heard incredible things, so Dark and Shallow Lies. I'm really looking forward to that. I do love a good thriller every now and then, and if it has magic in, even better. Okay, so the next book I got, honestly, whoever thought putting stickers on books was a good idea just is the worst person in the world, and I really hate them. Like, why do you do this to us? Oh no, made it worse. Oh, made it worse. Oh, there's another one there. So yeah, I got The Miniaturist. Now this is by Jessie Burton. That's the cover. Really interesting cover. So it's set on an autumn day in 1686. 18-year-old Nella Ortman arrives at a grand house in Amsterdam to begin her new life as the wife of wealthy merchant Johannes Brandt. Though curiously distant, he presents her with an extraordinary wedding gift, a cabinet-sized replica of their home. It is to be furnished by an elusive miniaturist whose tiny creations ring eerily true. As Nella uncovers the secrets of her new household, she realizes the escalating dangers they face. The miniaturist seems to hold their fate in her hands, but does she plan to save or destroy them? That sounds really interesting. So I'm getting kind kind of historical fiction, maybe like gothic vibes. I love the idea of this miniature house that represents their entire house, and I assume there's going to be figurines that represent the people as well, and maybe the miniatures can control them. I think that sounds really interesting. So yeah, I did pick this up from a charity shop for 99p, which we love a good bargain, and I am super excited to read this. I then picked up The Colour Purple. Now this is an absolute classic. It is by Alice Walker. This is like kind of one of those books that everyone should read at some point in their life, and I've yet to read it, so hence why I got it. I really want to read it. So it's set in the deep American South between the wars. The Colour Purple is the tale of Celie, a young black girl born into poverty and segregation. Raped repeatedly by the man she calls father, she has 2 children taken away from her, is separated from her beloved sister Nettie, and is trapped into an ugly marriage. But then she meets the glamorous Shug Avery, singer and magic maker, a woman who has taken charge of her own destiny. Gradually, Celie discovers the power and joy of her own spirit, freeing her from her past and reuniting her with those she loves. That sounds like a really difficult book to read, but again, it's kind of... I do like to search, you know, like top 100 books that everyone needs to read in their life, and this book is on like every list that I've seen. So I'm super excited to read it, but again, I do think it's going to be an extremely difficult book to read. Yeah, but I got The Colour Purple, and yeah, I'm really looking forward to reading that. I also then got the Hawthorne Legacy. This is by Jennifer Lynn Barnes, and this is the new sequel to The Inheritance game, which is a YA mystery thriller. I'm pretty sure I've spoken about it before on my channel. I do have that downstairs. I've yet to read it because I knew that this one was coming out, so I kind of wanted to hold off. I don't know if it's a duology or if it's going to be part of a series. I don't know about that yet. I've heard great things about The Inheritance game on BookTok, so I know it's going to be a good read. It is a YA thriller as well. So then I picked up, I've been wanting this for so long, I picked up Star Daughter, and this is by Shweta Thakra. And look at that cover. Is that not incredible? It is YA fantasy, and it just sounds so fantastic. I've seen it all over BookTok and BookTube, and I've been really wanting to pick it up. I'm really glad I finally got it. It is one of the most beautiful covers I own. I'm pretty sure I say that about so many books though. But yeah, this is incredible, really beautiful. So I'm really looking forward to reading that. I also got The Switch by Beth O'Leary, and it just kind of seems like a nice contemporary romance from what I read. So after blowing a big presentation at work, Lena takes a 2-month sabbatical and escapes to her grandmother Eileen's house for some overdue rest. Eileen is newly single and about to turn 80. She'd like a second chance at love, but her tiny Yorkshire village doesn't offer many eligible gentlemen. A life swap seems the perfect solution. But with a rabble of unruly OAPs to contend with, as well as the distractingly handsome local school teacher, Lena learns that switching lives isn't straightforward. In London, Eileen is a huge hit with her neighbours and with the online dating scene, but is her perfect match nearer to home than she first thought. It just sounds like a really good, fun, contemporary romance kind of dealio, and I'm really looking forward to it. I think it's going to be really good. Especially, I love that one of the characters is 80. I really enjoy that, because so many times I read YA books that are, you know, the protagonist is like between 18 to 25. So it's really nice to get a perspective of someone not in that age range. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. I think it's going to be really good. So it's called The Switch. So a while ago now, I was away on like a work conference for my job, and we were based in Sheffield, and they had a nice Waterstones, and obviously I went to go and visit the Waterstones, go figure, and I bought myself The Bear and the Nightingale by Catherine Arden. Now this is a trilogy, and this trilogy I've heard absolutely phenomenal things about. I have not heard a single person say a bad thing about this book or this trilogy, so obviously I had to pick it up. But then George, lovely George, bought me the other two on my Amazon wish list and just surprised me. So yeah, I'm just so happy. So I have the full trilogy. I will quickly read the synopsis of the first book for you. But yeah, as I say, I've heard incredible things. Beware the evil in the woods. In a village at the edge of the wilderness of northern Russia, where the winds blow cold and the snow falls many months of the year, an elderly servant tells stories of sorcery, folklore, and the Winter King to the children of the family. Tales of old magic frowned upon by the church. But for the young wild Vaser, these are far more than just stories. She alone can see the house spirits that guard her home and sense the growing forces of dark magic in the woods. I think it's very much kind of like a fairy tale-esque retelling, that kind of vibe, and I'm really super excited to read it. I love a good fairy tale retelling, so I'm extremely excited to read those. I do know it's been kind of described as a fairy tale retelling book, very magical, very whimsical, but also dark at times as well, so I'm super excited to read that. What else did I get? I then picked up Incendiary. This is another YA fantasy. This is the first, I can't remember the name of the second one, but there is a second one out as well. It's just an absolute classic YA fantasy, spies, magic. It just sounds really good, and I've heard good things about this on BookTok, although I don't think it is as popular as it should be from what I've heard, because I haven't seen a lot of people talk about this. The few that have said it's absolutely phenomenal, but yeah, I haven't seen that many people talk about it, so we shall see. Maybe this is a hidden gem that people haven't kind of discovered yet, or enough people haven't discovered yet. I then got a fantasy book that I am incredibly excited for. Now this is an adult fantasy book, and it is For the Wolf by Hannah Witten. I'm so excited about this. It is, like I said, adult fantasy. So it says the first daughter is for the throne, the second daughter is for the wolf. As the only second daughter born in centuries, Red has one purpose: to be sacrificed to the wolf in the wood in order to save her kingdom. Plagued by dangerous powers she can't control, at least she knows that in the wilder wood she can't hurt those she loves again. But the legends lie. The wolf is a man, not a monster. Her magic is a calling, not a curse. And if she doesn't learn how to use it, the wilder wood and her world will be lost forever. Sounds so freaking good. This is one of the books that I've been really kind of trying to get a hold of, and I'm so happy I finally got a copy. Yeah, it just sounds phenomenal. It sounds like an adult fantasy, enemies to lovers. I think it's going to be phenomenal. Again, heard great things about it. This last month's Fairy Loot I got Defy the Night. It's a beautiful copy as well with the sprayed edges, and it does also come with under the dust jacket art, which if you haven't discovered Fairy Loot yet, it's like a monthly subscription box that you can subscribe to, and each month you get a YA fantasy book and loads of like little goodies as well that you come with it, like bookmarks or bookends, mugs, tumblers, scarves, bags, that kind of stuff. So it says, a spark of rebellion is all it takes to defy the night. The kingdom of Kandala is on the brink of disaster. Rifts between sectors have only worsened since a sickness began ravaging the land, and the only known cure, an elixir made from the moonflower petal, is severely limited. Within the royal palace, the king holds a tenuous peace with a ruthless hand. Out in the wilds, apothecary apprentice Tessa Cade is tired of seeing her neighbours' suffering ignored by the unyielding royals. Every night she and her best friend Wes risk their lives to steal moonflower petals and distribute the elixir to those who need it most. But it's still not enough. As rumours spread that the cure no longer works and sparks of rebellion begin to flare, a particularly cruel act from the king's justice makes Tessa desperate enough to try the impossible, sneaking into the palace. But what she finds on the inside makes her wonder if it's possible to fix Kandala without destroying it first. Yeah, it's just another YA classic fantasy. I love anything to do with apothecaries as well. I really enjoy that kind of vibe. Like, I recently read This Poison Heart, and that was fantastic. That was, again, another kind of apothecary vibe, but it was more about like poisonous plants. Go figure. But I really did enjoy that. So yes, I did get this, but as part of that box I also got this, which is Beasts of Prey by Ayana Gray. I haven't heard anything about this at all. It was a complete surprise in the book box. So yeah, I'm going to quickly read the synopsis for the very first time with you because I have no idea what it's about. So it says, Lycosa was once a city of magic, now magic is nothing more than a myth. Kofi is a beast keeper at Lycosi's infamous night zoo. Oh, I already like the sound of it. Caring for fearsome creatures to pay off her family's debts, until she mistakenly unleashes a wild and mysterious power that sends the night zoo up in flames. Ekon is destined to become an elite warrior like his father and brother before him, until the fire at the night zoo throws his destiny into disaster and he is cast out forever. Thrown together, Kofi and Ekon have only one choice. They must enter the terrifying Greater Jungle and capture the Shitani, the legendary monster that has plagued Lycosa for a century. Magic has returned to Lycosa and the hunt has begun. That sounds amazing! That sounds so good! I'm so happy that I got that as part of the book box. Yeah, sometimes I do surprise you with another book in there, which I'd love, like, you know me. So yeah, that sounds really good. I love the idea of kind of a zookeeper of really dangerous monsters. That sounds really interesting. Yeah, so I'm really looking forward to reading that actually. That was a really nice surprise that I did not know was coming. So yes, Beasts of Prey. I then picked up Luckenbooth, which, look at that cover. Is that not phenomenal? It is by Jenny Fagan and it is a historical fiction kind of book. It's set in 1910 in Edinburgh. So it says, Jessie, the Devil's Daughter, arrives on the doorstep of an imposing tenement building and knocks on a freshly painted wooden door. She has been sent by her father to bear a child for a wealthy couple. But when things go wrong, she places a curse on the building and all who live there, and it lasts a century. Caught in the crossfire are the residents of 10 Luckenbooth Close, and they all have their own stories to tell. While the world outside is changing, inside the curse creeps up all 9 floors and through each door. Soon, the building's longest kept secret, the truth of what happened to Jessie, will finally be heard. It just sounds so interesting. It's a historical fiction with magic and curses, and I love anything set in kind of one building. It just kind of gives you that claustrophobic feel, so I really enjoy that. So yeah, I got Luckenbooth, which is a very new release, I do believe, and I'm really looking forward to reading it. And then I got that from a local bookshop in the town that I live, and I also picked up The Graves of Whitechapel, and again, look at the cover. There's a bit of a theme between these two now that I realise. I picked them up from the same shop as well. This is another historical fiction novel, and it is set in Victorian London in 1882. And it says, 5 years ago, crusading lawyer Cage Lackman successfully defended Moses Pickering against a charge of murder. Now a body is found bearing all the disturbing hallmarks of that victim, and Pickering is missing. Did Cage free a brutal murderer? Cage's reputation is in tatters, and worse, he is implicated in this new murder by the bitter detective who led the first failed case. Left with no other alternative, Cage must find Pickering to prove his innocence. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to this. I do really enjoy anything set in Victorian London. I really love that kind of dark, gritty setting. I'm really looking forward to reading that. I then got Life of Pi because, again, like I said, I like searching top 100 books everyone should read, and this was also on like 99% of the lists. I have watched the movie. I watched it a very long time ago, but I don't know how faithful it is to the book. So I got Life of Pi. I'm really looking forward to reading that. I picked up 2 books by Fiona Valpy. I picked up The Dressmaker's Gift and The Beekeeper's Promise. They just looked like really nice historical fiction books, basically. And I love that every now and then, you know, just a bit of a palate cleanser from all the fantasy and horror that I read. Yeah, I think they're both just historical fiction romance novels, and I'm really looking forward to reading them. They look really nice. Yes, so now those are all of my paperback books that I've got. I got 6 more books to talk about, and they're all hardback, and I'm really excited about, like, oh, there's one in particular that I'm so excited to tell you about. Anywho, so I then got Mrs. England. Now this is by Stacey Halls, who is the author of The Foundling. Again, one of those stickers I can't remove. It's gorgeous. Look at that. I'm pretty sure it's nice. Oh yeah, look. Look at that, how nice is that? Like, I love that. Oh, it's so beautiful. It is such a beautiful book. So yes, this is another historical fiction set in a large manor, and I think it's like a mystery thriller historical fiction style. So I'll quickly read the synopsis. So it's based in West Yorkshire in 1904, when newly graduated nurse Ruby May takes a position looking after the children of Charles and Lillian England. Ah, Mrs. England. That's why it's called Mrs. England. A wealthy couple from a powerful dynasty of mill owners, she hopes it will be the fresh start that she needs. But as she adapts to life at the isolated Hardcastle house, it becomes clear that something's not quite right about the beautiful, mysterious Mrs. England. Distant and withdrawn, Lillian shows little interest in her children or charming husband and is far from the angel of the house Ruby was expecting. As the warm, vivacious Charles welcomes Ruby into the family, a series of strange events forces her to question everything she thought she knew. Ostracised by the servants and feeling increasingly uneasy when her sister stops writing with news from home, Ruby must face her demons in order to prevent history from repeating itself. After all, there's no such thing as the perfect family, and she should know. It just sounds like such a really kind of claustrophobic, atmospheric, gothic, mystery thriller type of book, and I love that. You know, I love kind of big houses where people are kind of stuck there, that isolation. I really enjoy that. Yeah, and it's just a beautiful book, so I'm really looking forward to reading that. I then picked up Moriarty. I always struggle to say this. Moriarty. It's by Anthony Horowitz, and it is basically a kind of retelling of Sherlock Holmes. That's pretty much what it is. I think it's kind of middle grade. It just looked really interesting, and I saw it at the charity shop and I thought I would pick it up. So I just think it's kind of a middle grade retelling of Sherlock, because obviously Moriarty is the enemy in Sherlock, the main bad guy. So it looks really good. I'm really excited about this. So this is actually non-fiction, and it is Jane Austen, The Secret Radical. Now, I love Jane Austen. Pride and Prejudice is one of my absolute all-time favourite books. I know that's probably quite pretentious, but it is true, and the TV show as well with Colin Firth and Jennifer Eel is just like one of my all-time favourite TV shows. I adore it. I've watched it literally more times than I can count. So yes, this is basically a dive into Jane Austen's writing and world. So it says Jane Austen's novels don't confine themselves to grand houses, and they were not written purely for readers' enjoyment. She writes about serious subjects, and her books are deeply subversive. We just don't read her properly, and we haven't been reading her properly for 200 years. In her first brilliantly original book, Austen expert Helena Kelly introduces the reader to a passionate woman living in an age of revolution, to a writer who used what was regarded as the lightest of literary genres, the novel, to grapple with the weightiest of subjects: feminism, slavery, abuse, the treatment of the poor, the power of the church, and even evolution, at a time and in a place when to write about such things directly was akin to treason. Uncovering a radical, spirited and politically engaged woman, this book will encourage Austen fans to read her all over again. I just thought it sounded fantastic. It sounded like a really interesting viewpoint on Jane Austen's novels, and I thought it would be a good way to kind of get me back into reading classics again, because I've read a fair few of Jane Austen's novels at this point, and I would love to go back to reading them again and giving them, might give me another outlook on her novels. So yes, Jane Austen, The Secret Radical. I'm really looking forward to reading that. This one I am so excited for. So this book has been on my Amazon wishlist since March, I think, and that's purely because it wasn't released yet, and it is finally released, and I'm so excited about it. And my mum and dad, bless them, I love them so much, they went into Waterstones and they literally just handed, like, the worker at the bookshop just handed them my phone with my Amazon wishlist on, and they were just like, find me a book please. And because this was newly released, they got me this, and I was so happy and wonderfully surprised, because it's a book that, like I said, I've been wanting since March, and it is, oh, look at it, look how beautiful and incredible it looks. This is Empire of the Vampire by J. Kristoff. Now, if you don't know, J. Kristoff is the author of the Nevernight trilogy, which I do have downstairs, and I have yet to read it, so I do really want to read that. But look at that. Isn't it beautiful? So it says, from holy cup comes holy light, the faithful hand sets world alight, and in the seven martyrs' sight, mere man shall end this endless night. A chilling new take on vampire lore and those who must battle that darkness. It just looks like a big high fantasy epic based all around vampires, and I'm so so excited. I'm phenomenally excited for this book. I cannot wait. I'm pretty sure it's part of a series though, but I'm not 100% sure. But yeah, it's just brand new released. You'll probably, if you go into any bookstore, you'll most likely see this in there. So I'm so excited. I then got Those Who Are Loved by Victoria Hislop. This is another historical fiction book. I got a lot of historical fiction. That's unusual, but I enjoy it. Oh, I do obviously enjoy it if I keep buying them. So it's set in Athens in 1941. After decades of political uncertainty, Greece is polarised between right and left-wing views when the Germans invade. 15-year-old Themis comes from a family divided by these political differences. The Nazi occupation deepens the fault lines between those she loves, just as it reduces Greece to destitution. She watches friends die in the ensuing famine and is moved to commit acts of resistance. In the civil war that follows the end of the occupation, Themis joins the communist army, where she experiences the extremes of love and hatred and the paradoxes presented by a war in which Greek fights Greek. Eventually imprisoned on the infamous islands of exile, Themis encounters another prisoner whose life will intertwine with her own in ways neither can foresee. She finds she must weigh her principles against her desire to escape and live. I love anything to do with World War II as well, and it sounds fantastic to read a book that is based around World War II that isn't set in England, isn't set in the UK, because all of the books that I have read have been set within the UK around World War II. So to have the perspective of a Greek person living through that is going to be really interesting. Yeah, so I'm super excited to read that. And then my very last book, again I got this from a charity shop. I love charity shops, I get so many books from them. This is Lyra Bird, which is by Cecilia Ahern, and look at how gorgeous it is. Yeah, for those that don't know, a Lyra Bird is a bird basically that can mimic any sound, which I just think is phenomenal. So yeah, just a little bit of trivia there. But I will quickly read the synopsis for you. It is based in southwest of Ireland in the rugged mountains and thick forests. Deep in the woods, a young woman lives alone, forever secluded from the world. Her life a well-kept secret. She possesses an extraordinary talent, the likes of which no one has seen before, a gift that will earn her nickname the Lyra Bird. When Solomon stumbles into Laura's solitary existence, her life is turned on its head. Pulled from her peaceful landscape to the cacophony of Dublin, she is confronted by a world desperate to understand her. But while Solomon knows the world will embrace Laura, will it free her to spread her wings, or will it trap her in a gilded cage? Like all wild birds, she needs to fly free. Yeah, I just think it sounds phenomenal, and I'm really looking forward to it. And I hadn't actually heard anything about it until I saw it in the charity shop, and it was obviously the cover that sparked me, and also the name. I really love my birds. Another little trivia about me, I'm really interested in ornithology. I love the Lyra Bird. I think it's a fantastic species. So yeah, I am so excited to read that as well. I just have so many books to read and not enough time to read them. That was my book haul for today. I really hope you've seen some books that you might be interested in reading. I like to think I've got quite a good selection of different genres there. I don't have a great deal of horror though, and I need to fix that. I need to get more horror books. Anywho, I really hope that you enjoyed this video. I hope I didn't ramble on too much, and I'm sorry if I just kept reading synopsises, but a lot of these books, obviously I haven't, well, none of these books I've not read yet, so I like to make sure that you get the experience that I'm getting when I read the book for the first time. So yes, I sincerely hope that you enjoyed this video, and I will see all of you lovely people in the next one. Alright, bye guys.